Hi, my name is Melody Joanne Centeno, and I'm the founder and president of Foster Care Unplugged, hanging out with my girl Jen from BK here on Ladies First. Only 4% of foster care youth have graduated from a 2-year college, 3% from a 4-year college. 46% of foster care youth have reported to have been employed. 54% have made less than $10,000 a year. 15% of foster care youth have been homeless. An average foster baby will live in 3 different foster homes before the age of 1. Can you imagine? 3 foster homes before you're even able to speak.
Happy holidays, everybody. It's your girl Jen from Brooklyn. As you can see, it's a special episode of Ladies First. I changed everything to red. Normally it's purple in here, but I wanted to end off the year right. In this special episode, I just wanted to kind of shed light and awareness on the youth and also people who aren't as privileged during the holidays as we are, and just also with their upbringing. So I have a special lady next to me who's also happens to be a dear friend. She is the founder and president of Foster Care Unplugged, Melody Centeno. Mel, what's up?
Hi, Jen.
This is different for us, right? This is
very
like on my show.
Very formal. We're usually doing madness.
Yes.
Being silly, trying to
Yes.
surprise our common best friend for her birthday.
Yes.
So this is too formal for us.
Yes, shouts out to Christine, that's my girl, and also over some drinks as well. But
Very true.
Mel, I'm glad you're here. And you know, I've seen what you've been doing. You are the epitome, I think, of a ladies first, the first lady.
you.
Someone who's polished, but someone who's also inspiring, motivating, someone who's about her business, someone who's a boss chick, I would say. And what you're doing out here for the foster care program is, I haven't seen it done before.
Right.
I think this is the most I've been aware about the foster care program that I've ever been.
And that's exactly what we love to hear. And that's really like our mission over at Foster Care Unplugged. You know, we are a platform that creates awareness, develops partnerships, and creates initiatives for the community. You know, I like to think myself as the bridge that bridges foster care youth with the community resources in terms of shedding light on so many children who are out here struggling with support system, and so many people in the community who have willing hearts to be supportive if they knew really what was going on. And a lot of people don't know 10,295 youth are currently in foster care within the 5 boroughs. And that's a lot of kids that don't have permanent homes.
That's crazy to even imagine. So I guess, can you just break down exactly how does one get into a foster care home? How does the process, how does that happen? Because I'm sure people have ideas about it, but
Right.
how does a kid end up in the foster care program?
Well, now you're going to make me get really legal.
Not too legal.
Yeah, right. We want to keep it basic. But no, usually someone calls in a case into the SCR, which is the State Central Registry. Anyone can Google that up. And if they see probable cause for a child being either in danger or any type of neglect cases, they usually call it out. And then ACS, the Administration of Children's Services, then has up to 24 hours to go out to that home to make an investigation. And from there, if they see any findings of neglect in any regard, then they will go into the family court and file a petition for the child to be removed on those grounds.
And I could only imagine what that's like on the kid's psyche. You know what I'm saying? To be in a home that's maybe not a great home, and then being ripped out from it, and then sometimes being placed in a home that's not just as good, right?
You know, ACS in the city and the state does a really good job with putting families who do want to become foster parents into a rigorous process to ensure that they are good placements. But the reality is, you know, I grew up in foster care. That's why we even started the foster care initiative. As you know, I have 8 siblings, 5 sisters, 3 brothers, with myself including a twin sister.
What was that like growing up in a house like? Wait, you got to rewind that. Can we rewind that? Wow.
It was a lot of us. It definitely was a lot of us. My background, we can rewind. Pretty much, you know, my father died at the age of when I was 3 years old, and I think that's the only memory I have of him. I know that's the only memory that I actually have of him, was him taking his last breath. And after that, you get left with 6 children, a house. It's very difficult for a single mom to keep up with that, aside from the financial struggles, so forth and so on. So my mom was a great mom, but just environmentally, she just couldn't manage, and dealing with other things, and the father's mourning a death, the love of your life now dying. You have 6 kids at the time, before it became 8. It really, really, really was a lot on the family. So yeah, having all those siblings was like crazy. It's like, we have a different ages for all of us, and so some are older, some are younger. I felt like a mom at one point. I was parentified, raising children as if they were my own. I think that's why I have all these motherly skills naturally. And then I have older siblings who played mother and father figures in my life, just to try to make sure that we didn't keep bouncing in and out of the foster care system, because that was our journey. 10 foster homes, 1 group home, 1 RTC for myself alone, moving around and around. So going back to what you were saying in regards to children being uprooted and then placed with strangers. And then not only that, you got to think about those foster homes that are available. They have cultural changes. So now you're getting hit with cultural shock, with adjustment, with transitioning, aside from coming into the home dealing with abandonment and rejection because you've just been uprooted from your home. So there's a lot of psychological and there's a lot of emotional things that foster care youth in general go through,
And, I'm just thinking back and looking at this holiday sign and stuff, just especially around the holidays, a lot of these kids, I don't know if you can speak for yourself, but, they've never really had a holiday before. I'm just still trying to think back, you being in 10 different group homes, you said, and foster homes and things like that. Is just, do you ever get that sense of family, that you belong somewhere? Do you always feel like you're just the odd person out? You know what I'm saying?
That is actually a great question. And that's actually a very personal question, which is something that the public needs to know. So thank you for asking that. But you know what? As a foster care youth, sometimes it is challenging to acclimate. Sometimes I remember one foster home, I couldn't believe that this woman loved me so much. The last woman that I was with, who kind of...
That's crazy to think that you felt, so you've never felt that before, a true love from a parent.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I did feel the true love from my mom. I just feel like with the mental breakdown that she had to go through with my father's death and everything else.
She just never recovered.
And I grew up visiting her in psych wards. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, damn, this is, woman that loves me, but she's helpless here. And I'm like behind a glass trying to see her, So that, and, I think it depends on how old I was, because there was foster parents where I kind of was like, okay, this person does love me. But yes, we do question a lot. Like, what are you here for? Are you here for the money? Are you here for, are you here because you really want to be here? Because we've seen all types of foster home settings out there, and I remember my last foster mother, who I know loves me and that I love to death, and that, if you see my personality, you see her, because that's how much, I've attached myself to her as a child when I finally got over that trust hump. But she'll tell you to this day, we laugh about it all the time, where she says, I remember one time, because she's West Indian, right? So, she's like, one time I tell you I love you and you're gonna go look at me and you're gonna go say to me, why you love me for? You don't have a reason to love me. I wish you would not like me like everybody else, because I'm not used to people loving me, because everything is so temporary. So could you imagine me being 12 years old saying, why you love me? I don't want you to love me. Or the fact that I said, why don't you hit me like other people have hit me, since that's probably what you're going to do anyway. That's a lot of things that, because of our experiences, we think in the back of our mind when it comes to trust issues and love issues, but it takes a certain person to really continue to be devoted to that child. Like my foster mother, the last one was, out of the many that I had that I just seen good and bad, she really stayed on top of me, and she really looked at me and she said, look, this is the last foster home you go to. I'm going to love you. I'm going to love you until you become a woman. And that's exactly what she did.
I can't bring a tear to my eye right now.
Shout out to Auntie Pat. Everyone knows her in the community in Brooklyn and Canarsie as Auntie.
Right, Brooklyn. What up, Auntie Pat?
What's up,
Auntie? Oh, my God. I'm some tissues in here, Chris.
But she did. She loved me, and she loved me until I became a woman. And if it wasn't for her, there would be no Foster Care Unplugged. because I was on the path to destruction.
Were
And
you?
I was taking down everything coming my way. And it took to me to see that this woman never gave up on me, for me to say, you know what, I want to be a blessing, and I want to be the person that never gives up on them.
And it's
that's all the
so
foster care youth.
so important to even parents out there themselves, like just children in general, how important it is for them to be in your life, because that sets the tone for everything. You know, I say this a lot. Adults now, their temperaments, the way they act, their personalities, the way they react to things, is all because of a result of their childhood. So the fact that you didn't have that in the beginning and you have that now is just a beautiful thing to see.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I tell my clients all the time when I'm doing therapy, we're all pies. We are people and environments. And if you look at the pie, we become a byproduct of that actual pie. So once you start to remove the slices, and sometimes those slices are in the form of cuts, and you allow that child to really go through that process of healing, then that pie can turn into anything. You can have a pepperoni, you can have a cheese and broccoli, you can have whatever you want. You can add to that pie in your life that's going to make you successful. And I was able to just, make a pie full of a whole bunch of stuff that may not make sense to you. Like, why are you adding tomatoes and peppers? But you know what? Those are my tomatoes and peppers. Leave them alone. They taste good. They go right with my taste buds. And so that's what I try to tell my kids whenever I'm working with them, or my adults when I'm working with them. Like, we're all pies. We are people and environment. Let's get it together.
Now, through
You
your
know?
programs, Foster Care Unplugged, do you provide that sort of sanctuary for these kids to feel like they're loved as well? Maybe they're not getting that at home, or maybe some just feel sheltered or just kind of standoffish when it comes to things like that?
Absolutely. It's
Okay.
definitely hard to get through that first layer when you're dealing with a foster child.
Yeah, how do you peel through that? Because when you've been through so much, it's kind of, you just can't help but be guarded. You know what I'm saying? Defensive towards everything. So
Most definitely. I'm going to tell you something about foster care children, and I'm not being biased.
Okay.
We can read through bullshit. I'm sorry. Am I not supposed to curse
Yes,
on here?
you can.
Okay.
Whatever you want to say.
All right. This is the melody. This is melody talking. This is foster child melody talking. We can read through BS. We can tell who's real. We can tell who's fake. We have very good observation skills. In fact, for a lot of our journey, we more so stay quiet and watch. And that's why we're very good observers and we're very good analyzers. My day job, my career, that's my title. I'm an ABA. I'm an applied behavioral analyst. I analyze
So you just
behavior.
analyze people all the damn time.
I analyze behavior all day, every day, and because you know what? I would never be an ABA if it wasn't for my past, because I'm so good at observation. And so foster care children, we're great observers. We can look through and we can tell who's real, who's not, and that allows us to open up. We have a lot of trust issues, and hopefully we become reformed and we rehabilitate in those areas, but we're extremely loyal. It's because when you lack something in your life, you're extreme in it as an adult. So since we lack loyalty, we give a lot of loyalty when we do let people in. And so I understand that formula very well. And the children, when I sit with them, they know that I know that formula. And they know once they hear my story that I can relate and I can identify. And a lot of those walls come down very slowly, And they look at me and they're like, how do you go from being professional male to, what up? I'm from Brooklyn. You from Brooklyn too? What part you from? And then when they see that, they're like, oh, she's just not a therapist. She's someone who is here in the trenches with us, trying to help us get out.
And I know I'm sure you can't share this because it's confidentiality reasons, but if there was a common theme when you're talking to these kids, their biggest concerns or their fears or even their hopes, what would it be?
In terms of biggest concerns and fears, I think the common thread that I see when I'm working with them is more so working through abandonment and rejection.
That's just the biggest thing.
That's the biggest
and I can
thing that I'm
understand
actually constantly tackling. And those things tie into insecurity. Those things are attached to defense mechanism. Those things are attached to anger. So I have a formula for even dealing with that, and that's 3 things. And, I learned it from my pastor at CCC, Pastor A.R. Bernard, and that's really to educate the mind, stir the heart. And once you can educate their mind and you stir their heart, you can activate their will to change. And so when I'm dealing with, thank you, when I'm dealing with abandonment and rejection, that's the thing. I'm educating them on exactly what is it that they're dealing with. And as they become informative, because knowledge really is power depending on what you do with it, right? As they become more and more informed, then it starts to stir their heart. And now once their heart begins to be stirred, now they're in a place of vulnerability. And since they already trust me, now they remain teachable, and now I can really work them through it. And I think that that's the best formula when you're tackling any kind of relationship, even outside of foster care, a marriage. We were talking earlier about that, but things of that. If you really practice that formula, after that, it's all about applying, because the evidence of learning is then application. So if you're able to apply it, then you're able to learn from that. And if you learn from that, then that's when the process of healing starts to begin to take place. It's what got me through, and it's definitely the formula that I'm using for them.
That's right. Her name is Melody Centeno, Foster Care Unplugged. Not only a dear friend, but an amazing woman. Melody, as we wrap this up, I know you've been doing amazing things around the city. So if you want to talk about, all these projects you've been working on, feel free. So I definitely want the people out there who want to be involved in helping with this. How can they be?
Well, definitely they can follow us on our social media page, which is Foster Care Unplugged. They can also send us an email at www.fostercareunplugged.org. We definitely take emails. Our team is always responding to emails all the time. They send them directly to me for any other personal matters. If you're a foster child yourself and you can relate to anything that we said and you want to connect, please contact us. We will get back to you. We care about you. We're looking for you. We want to build ourselves, because I'm looking for you, because I wish somebody was looking for me when I was at certain stages that you're at. So let me be there for you in those stages. We did a toy drive. We just raised 100 toys for kids last week. We did a sneaker drive. We raised 500 pair of sneakers, name brand sneakers for foster care youth through our team PCNY and our other partners with Empire Boy, so forth and so on. $190,000 in value.
That's
in
amazing.
terms of the sneakers. More recently, I partnered with the foster care agency that raised me, Heartshare St. Vincent Services. Shout out to them, because they have been very supportive in my life. And we raised $325,000 to send foster care youth to college. So it's real. Everything that I do is connected to a youth. We're doing a lot of projects. We have a fashion show where we actually put foster care youth in the show.
I love it.
Since I am a therapist, I always got to get my motive out the way. And I wanted these kids to open up to talk about abandonment and rejection. So I put them through a 10-week rigorous boot camp training, because I'm out in college. Yes.
Like America's Next Top Model kind of thing?
Yes, it was. It was crazy. It was crazy. But it was amazing, because we built their self-esteem. So the first half was runway walk. The second half, it was clinical therapy. Let me know what's going on, guys. We had tears. We broke down. It was informative. We built them back up, and then we put them right on the runway. We raised $5,000 that night. And what's beautiful, I know I'm talking a lot, Jen.
No,
but
go.
What's beautiful about that is that was the first time in a setting, that show that I did, talking about groundbreaking. My heart was melting, that we had attorneys, judges, legal attorneys, foster parents, birth parents in one room, and they weren't fighting over the child. You only see them in a courtroom fighting for a child. In which direction? Because everyone has their own positions. We had politicians there. We had everybody in the room, and they were there for the child. It was a blessing to see foster parents and birth parents taking pictures together with their caseworkers, with their law guardians, and raising money for a good cause. So we're doing things that are very innovative, very off the wall, very left. But like I said, and like you said, these kids have trust issues, so I got to break through in different ways. And these are the very different ways that we're breaking through. And it's booming. Foster Care Unplugged has only been in existence since March 2016. And
it's flying.
And it's flying. It's like I'm riding a plane and flying it at the same time. I lose sleep all day, every day, but I'm taking calls because I just love it. And it's a grind. It's an amazing feeling. I'm on a natural high, and I'm going to keep doing it, and we're going to keep doing it. So the more people outreach us, if you have ideas, contact us. We are all open for, as long as it stays within legal, statutes, and and our licenses and our insurances are all protected. Obviously, that's the business side. Melody's always thinking on the business side. But as long as those things are up to par, we are all for opening up the ideas to how else do we really capture the hearts of these youth while they're on their journey to resiliency into adulthood.
So you guys, ladies and gentlemen, Foster Care Unplugged is the real deal. Not these half-ass, charities out there, organizations that just you give them money and then it goes somewhere. You don't even know where it's at.
You're gonna see everything. I am Instagram I am Instagram, post, Twitter fingers, whatever you want to call me, because everything's so transparent that you will see every single thing that we do.
I love it.
You will see everything that we do.
I love it. It's powerful. You're amazing. Thank you so much for
you.
coming by, Mel, and sharing your story. And I'm sure a lot of people out there will feel inspired. Maybe even some kids out there who are foster kids will reach out and try to be a part of this wonderful thing you're doing. We have some special guests here, Zimma and Destiny, who are part of the foster care program, right?
Well, they're definitely youth that we focus on.
Yep. And they're actually gonna fulfill their dreams of performing at Hot 97 and here on Ladies First. So let's see what they got.
I am not yours. I was never yours, but I'll be gone. I am not yours. I was never yours, but I'll be gone. Just listen for a minute. I know you're reminiscing over distance, but I've been putting down for you before I had this vision and the shit I had to go through just for you to go missing. Man, it's fucked up. And ain't that enough? How you gonna make it in the nigga that had made you was to stand in the same store, getting fucked up? Popping on you, I'm hopping in and out of Porsches. Could've been you, but your girl took precaution. Cause niggas like you don't ain't have other options. Fucking with you, I thought I lost it. I'm honestly trying to be a friend, but you try to take advantage. Boy, I ain't moving from where I'm standing. And Jay must've thought I was a crazy bitch, but nigga, you don't do that type of shit. You was fucking with some bitches, fucking with my feelings, fucking with my breathing. You don't do that type of crazy shit, and on some stranger shit. Thought I was all you had, never wanted to make you mad, no. But I realized I always come first now. Everybody told me you was dealing with your own things, but I always came around. You say you dodged a bullet, but I think you shot an angel down. And this is news to me, and as crazy as it sounds, I was never yours, but I gotta put it down. I'm not yours, I was never yours, but I'll be gone. I am not yours, I was never yours, but I'll be gone. And now you wanna jack me, thought I was never yours, but a nigga made me feel happy, and I was just for a show. And you were off the Xennies when I let you know that you were all I never wanted, and I'll never fall in love again. Tripping off an Adderall, trying to cock off the feelings that I never meant to say to you. Gave you some heart-to-heart messages, things I never tell to people, things I never wanted to do. But it's cool, cause you were you and I was me. And all the shit I let you see, while it was just a dream, got me out here like a fiend for a love I never wanted. Thought we were on the same page, boy, I thought you saw it. But too much faith in something that I never started. But I was never yours, so we couldn't have parted. Yeah, and I'm cool with this, I'm not new to this, but I used to have a known who ain't on my shit. But it's better if I center on my focus quick. If I catch you slipping, boy, gon' flick your wrist. I thought you missed me, kid, I took care of you more than I should have dared to. And your regret that I was never yours. And I wasn't built for this. No, how could you miss me, kid? No, I wasn't built for this. All of the things we did, how could I let you slip? I wasn't built for this. I wasn't built for this. I'm not yours. I was never yours, but I'll be gone. I am not yours, I was never yours, but I'll be
just trying to make me cry today on this show, huh? Great voice. And I felt the words when you were singing. Did you write the song?
Yes, I did.
You did?
I wrote it and I sang it and played all the instruments for it.
That's amazing. And, you know, from where you came from through the program, now doing amazing things out of the program, now you music career, and you're here at Hot 97. I'm so happy for you, Melody. She's amazing. And I hope this was a moment for you to perform Hot 97, huh?
I'm so happy. Like,
You are?
Yeah.
Well, you know, this is the holiday season, right? So I guess during the holiday season, you also have to give gifts. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Zimma,
For us?
A gift. Well, the way
Where's
my
my
bank
gift?
account's set up.
actually, I have a gift for you.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Would you like to know what it is? Well, she don't even know what it is yet. You might not even like it.
It could be a piece of tape. I'll be proud.
Gratitude.
I love it. I love it. So, shouts out to my dear friend Dominican Drew. Drew, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I am hooking you up with a 1-hour session with Kyle Resto. He is the producer for Alicia Keys, and he is going to do a producer session with you at Jungle Records with Swiss Beats and Alicia. So shouts to Swizz and Alicia for hooking Zimma up. How do you feel? You're going to have a legit session.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yes.
I love Alicia Keys.
Yeah.
She's like one of my idols.
Good, and now you get to work with her producer, one of her
Thank you
producers.
so much.
You're welcome. And Mel, I'm not done. I know. Shouts out to Destiny. She's in the building as well.
She is. Yes, she is.
I
One
know
of our
she's
other
a
girls.
she's a dancer.
Yes, she is.
Thanks to my friends over at EXPG Gym, one of the best dance schools in the entire city and Ben Finley. We're gonna hook her up with some classes over there with the top-notch dance instructors who dance all around the world. So that's for her too.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. Man, that's what it's about. It's about partnerships.
That's right.
Creating partnerships with one another.
That's right. So again, Mel, let them know where they can find you.
www.fostercareunplugged.org. You can email us directly from there. Follow us on Foster Care Unplugged on Instagram or Melody JC, me.
Yes. And before we wrap this up, I just want to say happy holidays from
holidays.
us. And also, we have to shout out Joanna. Mel, yes, you want to just briefly speak about Joanna before we go
Yes.
into this PSA?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, it is. Let me move out the way.
Joanna Bouzier, she was one of the foster care youth from Heartshare St. Vincent Services, the foster care agency that raised me. And when I finished undergrad, before I went to graduate school, I wanted to give my life back to the foster care agency that raised me, and so I became a case planner. That was my first job straight out of Adelphi University, and Joanna was my first case. So I had her over 8 years ago, and just in September, she died to a tragic experience where she was arguing and fighting with another young lady, and the other young lady stabbed her in front of her 9-month-old child in Brownsville, Brooklyn. That was a foster care unplug baby. Even though she was 22, she had just aged out of foster care. And even when kids age out of foster care, even like Zimma, they're still a part of our network, and we always want to make sure that they're still good, you know? And so due to the loss of Joanna, it really hurt our Foster Care Unplugged community. So what we did was we dropped the public service announcement on conflict resolution, specifically with women, that women and ladies must always be first, and that we can practice healthy communication that does not have to result in things like what happened to Joanna. Now we have a 9-month-old child that we are praying for and hoping that he has the best journey for his life, but now without Joanna. And so we're still healing in our community. And so pay attention to this PSA and really, really take heed. And if you have conflict with anybody, nothing or no one is ever worth your life. It really isn't. Walk away, take a breath, revisit another time, but don't make any decisions that are irrational. Okay? So drop that PSA real quick.
What would it cost you if you moved that way? As women, we're someone's daughter, someone's sister, someone's mother. Let's make sure we're always doing and being better.
The choices you make will impact my generation.
As women, we should use our words and not our hands.
Never give anyone that much power over you.
Let's be proactive instead of reactive.
Instead of beating each other down, we should be building each other up.
What if you made a different choice, but instead of from anger, from love?
Instead of listening to respond, How about we listen to understand?
How about we start a conversation?
A different conversation.
Positive conversation.
A win-win situation.
Let's come together and end this right now, right here, the right way.
Look, I think we gotta talk.
I think so too.
Okay.
Ladies First is made hot by my friends at City Tech. Shouts out to Valerie Yepes, who goes to school there. She will be designing a flyer, a logo, anything that Zimmer needs. Thank you, Valerie and City Tech, for keeping our ladies first.